Hey guys, Rusty here. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Cool, hey? Hey guys, Rusty over here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to solo Mythic Underrot for the Underrot Crawg mount, one of two Crawg mounts in the game. I think there's only two. Now, I made a video on how to solo Mythic Freehold. Freehold's a complete joke compared to this. Underrot is a bit of a step up, although it is still very doable in current gear, and by the end of patch 8.3, it's going to be a complete joke to do. So, let's get started. By the way, I'm doing this around, what is it, 461 item level, I believe, around there. Anyways, as soon as you get into the dungeon, go ahead and pull this fetid maggot on the right. Now, this maggot is just basically just going to do one ability called this Rotten Bile. Just does damage in front of it. Guys, now, this is the hardest mechanic ever, but you're going to want to move left or right out of the way of it, or you could just stun the mob. Now, after that, you're going to have this chosen blood matron here. Now, this mob is actually kind of hard, and if you're undergeared, it'll just kill you, as this mob does hit pretty hard. Now, this mob is going to do two abilities. The first one is going to be this Warcraft cast that she's about to do here. Now, this is going to increase her haste by 100%, which also increases her attack speed. So, essentially, you're going to be taking a bunch of damage. So, if any kind of defensive cooldowns, if you're struggling with it, once she buffs herself, that's usually a good time to pop it. Now, you're not going to see it here. She didn't do it, but she's also going to do an ability. I believe it's called Savage Cleave. It has Cleave in the name. Essentially, she's going to do damage in front of her, so just simply move out of that, and you'll avoid the damage. Although, I did manage to skip it here. In the first few pulls, this Blood Matron is one of the harder mobs to deal with, as it does hit kind of hard. Next mob would be the Blood Priest. After that, keep heading over to the right. You're going to handle these Underrot ticks. They're essentially just going to put this dot on you. It's just a dot. You just got to heal through it, and when they die, they're going to go big boom. Nothing to do about it. Just kill them off quick, and just got to heal through the damage. Now, after that, you're going to pull this pack in a minute here, but also on the right, you're going to have a patrol there. Just be careful. Don't pull until that patrol is far enough away, because they will pat right up to the ramp there, and they can pull. Now, I see the Blood Priest there. We want to deal with that alone, as it has two casts you want to interrupt, so you're going to want to deal with that Blood Priest alone. So, once you pull here, you're going to have 3 of these Headhunters. Now, they're going to do an ability called Barbed Spear, which is some damage you got to take and deal with it. They're also going to root you. They're going to net you and root you, and that'll also just put another small dot on you. For the most part, these Headhunters are pretty much a complete joke to deal with, guys. Like, they're really not that hard. The hard mob for this pack is going to be this Blood Priest. Now, this Blood Priest has 2 casts you absolutely need to interrupt. She's also going to do Blood Bolt. Don't interrupt Blood Bolt. You need to let that go through and save your stuns and your interrupts for these 2 casts that are about to go through. The first one is going to be this Gift of Gahoon cast. If that goes off, it'll make the mob immune. You won't be able to kill it. And also this Dark Reconstitution cast, as that will heal the Blood Priest up to full health, killing it. Now, that mob can be stunned. Also, you could re-CC it to essentially interrupt the ability and use that as an interrupt. Now, you're going to have 2 paths on the left and the right. On the left, you can see it has the Blood Matrons that will sometimes switch on the right. You want to go down the path that doesn't have the 2 Blood Matrons next to the mask thing. Now, once you pull here, go ahead and CC that Blood Priest, and now you're going to have another Matron and also a Headhunter. Now, just like before, the Blood Matron is going to be your DPS priority here, as these Matrons, again, do hit pretty hard. Just, they will also buff the Headhunter and give them the haste buff, and basically increasing the damage they do. So you want to kill that Blood Matron ASAP and just move out of its cleave. And same thing with the Headhunters. You just got to eat the Barbed Spear, and they will also simply just root you, and which is just another dot. Now, again, same thing with the Devout Blood Priest. Make sure even if you have small DPS cooldowns here, like if you CC this and wait for those small DPS cooldowns to come up, I recommend honestly popping it on these Blood Priests. Once again, interrupt the Gift of Gahoon, and make sure you stun or interrupt the Dark Reconstitution cast. If one of those gets off, it could get out of control real quick. Again, as you can see here, I use my Imprison, my CC ability as a Demon Hunter, acting as an interrupt, make sure that cast doesn't go off. By the way, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video. Sorry. You do want invisibility potions. Now, head down here as close as you can. Go ahead and pop an invisibility potion. Obviously, if you have stealth, you could just stealth by here. Now, the Befouled Spirit, that pack there is really annoying, as the Spirit hits really hard, and also you have a Blood Priest you have to deal with. But you're also going to be using this invisibility potion to go ahead and skip the first boss, which is honestly really nice. You don't have to deal with that, although it is very killable and easy to do. Now, go ahead and try and head over kind of like in between the packs here in the middle without pulling left and right. If you pull to left, it's not a big deal. You just have some more ticks and another maggot to deal with. Now, careful of these 2 lashes here. You do want to avoid pulling 2 of these, as they do a cast that if that goes off, it gets stunned for 30 seconds and you're pretty much just dead at that point. So go ahead and pull these 3 living rots here. Now, these living rots are pretty much, for the most part, a complete joke to deal with. They're going to do this Wave of Decay cast, Interrupt it if you can. However, they're going to go off. It's not that big of a deal. They just do a small burst of damage, and they also leave a pool on the ground. Just interrupt as much as you can and kill the living rots down. Now, the most dangerous mob in this room here are going to be these diseased lashers. By the way, you want to hug and follow the left side of this boss room here. Interrupt that decaying mind cast. If that goes off, you get stunned for, I believe it's 30 seconds, and you're probably just going to die. And even if you don't, it's still a waste of your time. So interrupt the decaying mind cast. Now, the second mob is going to be these feral blood swarmers. Now, these fixate you. However, you're the only one in here, so they're going to hit you anyways. So essentially, guys, these blood swarmers will also do a sonic screech. If you're casting while that goes off, it'll just interrupt you, also do a small burst of damage. I still think the feral blood swarmers do the most melee damage, though, so kill them first. Now, again here, keep following the left side of the room until you get eventually to the end. Eventually, you get to this part here, where you will have another one of these fetid maggots, which are the ones that do this rotten bile cast. One or two ways to deal with that: move left or right. I know people struggle with that. It's a really difficult mechanic. Or you could also just stun the mob. Simple enough. Now, again, just keep going around the outside of this room, hug the wall, try and skip as many mobs as you can, and completely skip the second boss until you get to this pack here. Now, you're going to have two types of mobs, the Guardians and the Death Speaker. This Fallen Death Speaker is your DPS priority, as he hits pretty hard and also puts a debuff on you with this Wicked Frenzy cast that also increases your damage taken. Now, it's also going to do an ability called Raise Dead. Make sure you interrupt that, as it will basically just spawn another reanimated Guardian. If you have to pop DPS cooldowns here, this is definitely a pack you want to do it on, since it does deal a lot of damage. Save defenses for this part too if you have them. So these reanimated Guardians, the only thing they will do besides melee, they'll do this Bone Shield cast here, as you can see they're doing right now. Now, it is interruptible. If you don't interrupt it, it'll put a shield on them, or if you're playing a Blood Elf, I believe Priest can Master Spell it, you can Arcane Torrent the shield off, or Master Spell it off, or just simply stun and interrupt them. After that, you're going to have your first little Underrot Peanut here, which is this, little tentacle boy. Little tentacle boy. Now, this only thing it's going to do is this Death Bolt cast, which is that every time that goes off, it's going to put a stacking dot on you. So interrupt it, stun the tentacle as much as you can. Now, once you do that, you're going to have a Fallen Death Speaker and this Defiler here. Now, this patrols back and forth. Wait for it to patrol away, and then you're going to hug the left wall here. You could skip this pack. Again, this pack is very doable to do. It's really not that big of a deal, but if you could skip it, you might as well skip it. So go ahead, hug left, jump on that rock here, keep hugging left. Now, eventually you're going to get to this wall, which for the longest time, I didn't even know you could skip here, but you can jump on this little egg thing or rock thing, and then you're going to jump over the wall and keep hugging the left wall, completely skipping the third boss. 3 out of 4 of these bosses are skippable, just like Underrot. It's honestly, it's really nice and convenient. That's why Underrot and Freehold is so hard to do. King's Rest is a little different, as you need to pull every boss in there. Worry about that later, though. We're focusing on Underrot. Now, once you do that, you're going to go ahead and head to the right side and pull your second Underrot Peony here. Just like the first one, the Grotesque Horror. Interrupt Death Bolt as much as you can. It can also be stunned if you run out of interrupts. If you're struggling with it, try and take as many casts as you can without dying, and then start interrupting it. That'll give you a chance to reset your stacks. Now go ahead and kill that off. Be careful though, you don't want to pull that Bloodsworn Defiler with it. Now, it is possible to skip this mob. However, just in case, I figured I'd show you guys how to deal with it because it's a complete joke. Now, interrupt this Withering Curse cast. That is the most important cast to interrupt. This mob is also going to do a Shadow Bolt Volley, which is some damage you got to take. And if you don't kill it quick enough, it will also put this totem on the ground, which when the cast expires, it'll explode and do damage. Either kill the totem, or if the cast is going to go off, simply move away from the totem and you won't take the damage. Now, once you kill that, head over to the left here and kind of hug the left as far left as you can, so you can skip all those reanimated Guardians in the middle. And at this point, your invisibility potion should be coming back up, or again, you can stealth through this. So go ahead and pop your invis potion. You can skip all 3 of these tentacles here, as well as that Faceless Corruptor, until you get to these 2 Faceless Corruptors at the end. And now you do need to kill these 2 Faceless Corruptors in order to basically open up the way to the last boss room. As you can see, it's covered in the web there. Now, these Faceless Corruptors are a complete joke. They melee are kind of hard, so make sure you have some defenses up for this if you're struggling with it. Now, the most important ability is going to be that Maddening Gaze there. When that expires, it's going to do some damage in a line straight in front of it, so you'll take a burst of damage, but the most important thing is it'll also fear you. And chances are, if you get feared, you're going to get feared into a tentacle. So again, Maddening Gaze, don't stand in front of the Faceless Corruptors when they cast that, and you'll be fine. They're also going to do an Abyssal Reach ability, which spawns those purple tentacle boys there. Don't stand near them, and you're going to be perfectly fine. These Faceless Corruptors are pretty easy to deal with, and this will open the way to the last boss's room. Now, the last boss, guys, he hits really hard. Hard enough to the point where I was unable to do this in Havoc DPS spec. with current gear. I guarantee you by the end of the patch 8.3 with more gear and of course more corruption gear, this will be much easier to do in DPS spec to the point where, it'll be doable. But right now I am doing this in Vengeance, which is the tank spec for Demon Hunters. If you're struggling with it, I recommend doing it in a tank spec, maybe even a healer spec, as damage isn't that important with this boss. Now, the first mechanic this boss is going to do is this vile Expulsion here, which will just put pools on the ground. Now, in order to conserve space, just make sure you're always facing the boss towards the wall, or face him as much as you can. Now, that circle, what that's going to do, essentially you're going to get this stacking dot here, as you can see on the right of my screen, a stacking debuff. When you get that circle of light there, that'll essentially just clear your stacks. You're going to get it automatically since you're soloing it. Normally, if you're doing this with the group, everyone would have to stack and stand in to clear your stacks. It'll also clear these gray patches on the ground, although, guys, that's completely unnecessary as long as you face the Unbound Abomination towards the wall for each vile Expulsion. Now, you're also going to have these rotting spores which spawn from the pools. If they reach you, you're going to take a burst of damage, but they also die instantly. Now, you can see here the boss has an energy bar, and when that reaches 100, it's going to spawn 2 of these blood visages. Now, every time the boss reaches 100 energy, he spawns again. It's always going to be 2 adds that he spawns, and you need to kill 6 adds total for the Unbound Abomination to die. However, when they come out, Hazrul here, the Titan Keeper, he will pretty much automatically kill them for you. So you can go ahead and keep pumping damage into the boss until he finally spawns the last set, which is going to be the 3rd set, because again, doing basic math, if he spawns 2 every time, you need to kill 6 total. Therefore, the 3rd set would be the last one. During the 3rd set, you could go ahead and put all your damage into the blood visages, as long as since boss damage doesn't matter, Hazard will still be killing them for you. It really speeds it up by a second. However, if you're struggling with it, boss damage isn't important at this point. Just put all your damage into the blood visages, and then congratulations, you have killed the Unbound Abomination. Again, guys, this is kind of difficult to do in DPS spec right now, as the boss does hit really hard. However, as the patch goes on, and of course, obviously next expansion, Shadowlands, this will be a complete joke to do. Anyways, guys, I hope this guide helped you. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you got your mount. I sure as hell didn't, because this game is awful, terrible game. I hate this game. I don't know why I'm still playing it. Anyways, guys, hope this guide helped you. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer it. And as always, remember, Halo 3 was the best Halo. Until next time, guys. Yeah, bye. Can't speak. Bye-bye.